Hello and welcome to the City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley, along with Pikeville City Manager Donovan Blackburn. Always a great time to discuss the wonderful things going on in and around the city of Pikeville. Donovan,
Absolutely.
Good day to you, sir.
Well, good day to you too, Jill. Glad to.
It is time to start talking about a lot of fun things. It's the fall season. There's so much going on. Seems like every time we talk, there's more and more and more. And I know we say that every week, but we have a lot on our agenda for today. So let's go ahead and get started, all right?
Well, we do, and you're right. There is a lot going on. There's a lot of planning. Not just the shovels in the ground and all the things happening, but there's a lot of planning going on too that we can talk about.
Yeah,
today.
the first thing we want to do is congratulate the Pikeville High School soccer teams.
Wow. I mean, this is phenomenal. I've been ran into a good friend of mine, went to school with Jim Altman the other day, and I follow a lot of what's going on with on Facebook.
Right.
I've been out of town, as you know, all last week, and part of this week as well. I mean, this is a great success story. The soccer program. I mean, what a season for both the boys and the girls program. The boys just won regional.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the girls was defeated last night, but had a great run through the regional tournament. And then I think the boys play next Tuesday, I think it is. So we're inviting the commission. We've got a commission meeting this coming Monday. And as the commission has done for all the programs at Pikeville High School that have had success in winning, and there's been a lot of them this past year, Jill. I mean, it seems like that we've got a team coming to City Hall almost every week.
That's what I was going to say. Every time I, see the commission, the agenda, and anything like that, you always have a team on there of some sort. But I think it's a wonderful way to honor our kids that are great student athletes.
Yes.
And rewarding them not only for being like academically gifted, but also, I could never do some of the things that they do on the field.
Well, and that's the great thing about it is that these programs teach kids, to your point, from the academic standpoint, that's a lot of learning and a lot of book knowledge and a lot of hard work, but also what the sports programs teach kids in life. And if you look at, example, just the city commission, all but one, and I'm probably the one as well, but all but one I know played one sport or another, including myself, and it teaches a lot of different disciplines in life.
Oh, absolutely.
It teaches teamwork, and it's things that you carry with you your entire life. And the commission likes to honor these students because of not only their accomplishment, but it gives them something to put into their portfolio for when they're looking at going to college as well. So it's a lot of fun times. So we're going to have a big pizza party.
And when is that?
Yeah, you're going to show up,
right?
We'll have the city commission meeting this coming Monday at 6 o'clock, the 22nd, and at 5:30 we're going to bring pizzas in for the kids, and then at 6 o'clock when the meeting starts, we'll acknowledge their accomplishment with the proclamations, and then wish the boys team good luck for the next day, which should be Tuesday for their game.
Tuesday.
So it's a great time.
Well,
really
hopefully the next time that we meet, that we'll be talking about another winning season there.
Amen.
Can't wait for that. Something we're very excited about. We're taping this on the 18th. And on Monday, the 22nd, looking forward to something that's going to be very exciting for our downtown area. We have talked about it numerous times, is the groundbreaking of the Jenny Wiley Theater that's going to be downtown. That's going to be on Monday, the 22nd.
The groundbreaking will be the 30th. That's
my mistake. I'm sorry, the 30th.
Yes.
The work starts on Monday, the 22nd.
Yes. The commission had a special meeting along with the Jenny Wiley Building Committee this week that we're in. We met on Tuesday and awarded. The first phase will be three phases of the contract to build the new theater. The first phase is a demolition phase. There's signage going up today, as a matter of fact, to vacate the parking lot that's there. And then the contractors will be moving in to put the construction fence up on the 22nd, and they'll start work actually then. They'll be cutting the sidewalk out and doing some odds and ends. And then on the 30th at 10:30, as you mentioned, we have the actual official groundbreaking. Congressman Hal Rogers will be here. The Director of State Tourism will be here. Everybody from the state to the region. I mean, there's a lot of different people that are excited about this. And we talked about this in the past, Jill, because of what it does for downtown areas. There's been a lot of talk over the years of why can't we get a retail store downtown, and that's what we need to do. And quite honestly, again, I spent almost 19 years in retail. 18 years or 17 years of that was in management, and that's part of what I did when I was with Lowe's at the end was look for sites. And I can tell you, The big boxes, which are the ones that are here, they don't move into downtown rural areas. They go out to where they can get plenty of parking, plenty of land space, and then business breeds business. It's called foot traffic and destination locations. So what happens is when you get a new retailer, somebody wants to come in, they look for areas that have 38,000 cars a day that goes through them.
Right.
So they're not as attracted to downtown areas. So what downtowns have had to do is to be somewhat creative in a way of creating additional foot traffic in the downtown area to breed additional service demands, so that people will create, have a feel, because that's still where our roots are. That's where people want to gather, and that's where your identity is as well. So with all the events that's gone on over the past couple of years, with all the Expo Center Stadium, the Muscle of Maine, and the Bears, and the Artisan Center, and I could go on, the two new hotels, the Judicial Center. If you look back 5 years ago even, Jill, and look at the number of buildings that were unoccupied downtown, and then you look at it today, I mean, it's a night and day difference. But the reason that happens is because we've taken an interest in entertainment, arts, and culture. And of course, our key niche downtown is our legal system and our government. So downtown is booming. And it continues to grow. And this is another component. If you look again, and we talked about Abington, Virginia, and what they've been able to do to create a draw downtown that will bring, in this case, 250, 300 people as it's built out downtown every night for an event. So it helps fill the hotels. It gives attractions. So this is going to be a major component to the downtown's continual growth. And as you see, we have new restaurants and a lot of different events.
Well, we also have some new housing developments in older buildings going in downtown that a lot of people may not know about, like loft-style apartment buildings.
Yeah.
That it's really kind of makes it like a big city, but not a big city. You know what I mean?
It's a little city is what with a big city feel is with a lot of convenience and a lot of beauty. As a matter of fact, just before I came over here to the taping, I was a little bit late, and I apologize to you, but I had received a phone call from a lady that was from the Northeast, and she's in Beckley, West Virginia right now, and she's an author. She's written several books, and my understanding, she's fairly well published, and she's writing a new book, and she had heard about this unique, crisp downtown city in Little Pikeville, Kentucky. So, of course, we're not little anymore, but she was in Beckley, and it's not a Hatfield McCoy book. It's actually a book, and she was wanting to base a main character from a rural, quaint, progressive community, and she has chosen Pikeville as that hometown. So she called to get some feedback, some information about who she should talk with to get her feedback information. But again, this is somebody from the Northeast. She said she's never been to Kentucky, she's never been to Pikeville, and all of a sudden Pikeville showed up on her radar.
What a fantastic compliment!
It really is, and more people are seeing that. I mean, and we're recognized, and we've received accolades and awards, and I mean, it's a great feeling. But it's a partnership. It's a community. It's really community involvement, and a lot of progressive things are happening because of the medical center, because of the judicial, the regional judicial, not just the facility, but the legal system as a whole, because of the medical school and UPike, because of a lot of improvements and millions of dollars that has been funneled into downtown, improving the quality of life, improving the look, creating events like the Expo Center and this Jenny Wiley piece. I think it will receive several awards going forth because of the way that it was structured and how it happened and what it's going to bring to the quality of life. Because as we've said, and I'll say it one more time, and it's not just about a theater, but it's also about creating arts and culture in our downtown area, but it's also ties to the community, such as the liberal arts program at UPike, the arts program at the Big Sandy Technical College, the mobile workshops, and working with the Pike County school system and the Pikeville Independent System. So we're really excited that we're finally moving dirt. So again, the 22nd you'll see dirt moving, and on the 31st we invite everybody to come out.
Absolutely.
To take place.
And we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks as well. Now, we're also going to have another groundbreaking on the day before that, on the 29th, for the Scholar House that we've talked about numerous times on our program. Another exciting event.
Well, this is, again, exciting, and I won't go into a whole lot of detail with this, but I'm very, very excited about this because, and we talked about what the Scholar House is, and real quickly, this is a home that is housing for students that are single parents, that are in high school, that have good grade point average, and again, statistics shows that they don't go forward to continue their education. And what the Scholar House does is it offers government-type housing and child care. So for single parents, and they have to still maintain a grade point average. There's a lot of things they have to do to continue to be in the program. And then after they graduate from a technical college or the university, they're given a time frame, usually 6 months, to transition into the private sector. So now they become educated and able to, because again, if you look at the statistics, somebody that has been educated, has a degree, their earnings are higher, they contribute more, they're the young entrepreneurs. There's a lot of benefits to these programs. So this is, and I want to say this, I mean, I'm really excited because there will be another program where Judge Rutherford and myself, we spoke about it this past week. We're going to come on United and talk about the program. The 29th will be the first real rendition of the what the building's going to look like. The actual dirt moving process will probably take place around the 1st of November. I'm sorry, December, the first part of December. The city, just sold the property this week, finalized to sell the property for the program. And the developer, Governor Patton, the county, and what I think is really neat about this is a composite of the new board that has been set up. We've got, it's not only the city and the county working hand in hand on a great project, but it's the Pikeville Housing Authority, the county housing authority, it's the YMCA, it's the technical college. And there's several others. I'm going to leave somebody out if I keep going, and I'm going to hurt some feelings. But there's a lot of great partners that are on this board. These are very passionate people about offering these type of services and helping our kids with their future. So it's an investment in the future. And it's also a continuation program from the the old Kentucky High Street program,
right,
and Kentucky Avenue, where the city 10, 15 years ago went in. Actually, the apartments were completed on Kentucky Avenue back in 2004 when I first came on board, but had been working for several years prior to that, cleaning out the blighted urban blighted area, but the urban renewal project, and creating those government housings in there too. So this was another benefit to that, because it kind of ties hand in hand with government housing and offering people a step up that are in need, that can again come back, in this case, have a higher education, put themselves in a position to succeed for them and their child. So it's a great program, and I'm really excited to come on here with my friend Judge Rutherford and to sit down and we'll do that in the near future, to talk more about how people, because we're already getting calls, how do I get in the program? That's later to come. Right now we're concentrating on getting the building, but the judge and I will come on United and talk about all the ins and outs of the program, kind of share a little bit about what it's going to look like. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I look forward to that show.
It's going to be fun.
I certainly do. We have talked about the Thompson Road retail development for a year and a half now.
Yes.
And but it's getting closer and closer, and we keep the updates coming, and for good reason. But now this coming Monday, October 22nd, we're going to actually be speaking to the developer of that project. We're going to tape a show with him that will air a little bit later on. It will air on the 31st,
yes,
I believe, on Halloween Day, to talk a little bit about and kind of give a little bit more information than what we've been able to do on our show. So talk a little bit about what he's going to be here with us from. Where is it?
He is from South Carolina.
South Carolina. I was going to say North Carolina, but it's South Carolina.
Well, it's the post. I mean, where we get confused, and I do the same thing. I have to think about it. But the post office and his office, one's in Greensboro, and the one's in Greensville, and one's in South Carolina, one's in North Carolina.
Right.
So I have to really think
He's
each time.
He's from the Carolinas.
He's from the Carolina region. great guy. And again, as we've talked before, this is a major developer that's done over 350 major developments, large developments.
Right.
He's built over 1,200 restaurants. He has ties to a lot of national brands. But the community, it's the number one item that when I'm stopped on the street, people want to know is, when's it coming, when's it starting, and what's coming. We signed the deal 2 weeks ago. We finally finalized it. We're going through the 150-day due diligence process. In that time, he is now doing his renditions and blueprints of what is going to be there. We talked about multi-use, because it's not just about all the retail stores. It's not just about the 400 to 600 jobs he's creating. It's not just about the apartments that he's going to be building overhead, but people want to know how's it taking place. And I'm not, again, understanding that the City Commission was the one that put the deal together. They had the property. They worked very diligently because, again, not only the job creation issue, but the creation of quality of life. And having those national brands here will pull people out of other regions,
right,
which will create other service demands. So it's creating more jobs, more service demand, bringing more tax base to the community, helping our school systems because of the property tax evaluation. So this is a great project. So he will be here. His name's Neil Wilson, Realty Link, and again, if you get on their website, realtylinkdevelopment.org, I think it is, or .com. You can see the Pikeville Commons, but he'll be here to talk about the steps and what he's going through. Again, Jill, unfortunately, He won't name the stores.
I know. But what you did tell us last time, which I have been able to pass along to people, which we did on the last show, if you go to that website,
Yes.
you were able to see other developments that he has created and kind of get a feel for maybe what he's looking at for here. We're not going to say what it is, but a feel for the kind of projects that he's doing. So that might eliminate some questions, I should say.
It will, because I'm sure that a lot of the stores that you see on his previous developments are the ones that he's currently talking to, because he has relationships. And candidly speaking, the reason that Neil Wilson is here is because when I was out recruiting a big box name, the big box name that I met with, the vice president of this company in Lexington, and they're out of Wisconsin. Chicago area, and they have multiple headquarters up in that area. But they came down and I got them interested in our community. They were really interested in all the numbers and the statistics and the traffic count, and that the city had owned the property. And they actually were the ones that said, "This is one of our premier builders. We're going to tie you to him, and if he can do the project, then we would be interested in coming back and working with him to develop where we're heading." Right. So here we are, a year and a half later, and what took so long again was the piece with the post office, but we're finally, with the help of Congressman Rogers and Jody Lowe at the U.S. Post Office, we were able to get to the point that we are today. So I'm excited to bring Neil in. And one other thing that you mentioned that I want to clear up and explain why is we are going to be recording this on the 22nd.
Right.
It won't air until the 31st, because the reason it won't air is that I'm getting other questions also about what's the theater going to look like, when's the horse trail going to start, and a couple of other projects that we're working on. And we couldn't bring everybody in at one time to do the taping, because we're looking at doing probably an hour and a half segment on economic development. So as you know, we're going to be doing a taping on the 22nd. We got another one on the 25th. There's another one on the 29th to put all these economic development pieces together to do one big reveal show.
Right.
So and the last taping we're doing is on the 29th. So and they need time to do the production, put everything together.
That takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of work that goes behind the glass window that we can't see behind.
That's
but
right.
On the 31st, all that will be revealed. Some of the media has also picked up on interviewing some of these folks, so there'll be some things out, some teasers, I guess we'll call them, prior to the showing. But a lot of people are going to be very interested in what they hear.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As we've talked about numerous times, we are still working on the bypass project, $5.5 million, and on the Thompson Road Bridge, which is definitely going to be needed.
Yes, again, there's over $10 million worth of projects, and again, I want to thank Representative Leslie Combs and with the support of Representative Hall and Senator Jones. Leslie went down and really worked hard to get these into the transportation budget. So we're working now with District 12 office on getting this $5.5 million Rockwall bypass project fixed finally, and then also the second phase of Thompson Road, which is the new bridge that will eventually come across. So the money, and that, again, that's another, I think, $4 or $5 million that is in the that's in the budget currently that we're working with transportation coming on. So you can see those things coming.
Yeah. Some other projects that we want to just update people on. We have the Foxcroft Sewer Extension Project, Peach Orchard Stormwater Project. Those are all things that are, are ongoing projects that are going to bring so much relief to so many areas.
Well, one of the things that the Commission is tasked with that they've taken very seriously is providing services, and again, it's water and sewer. And if you look at the city, again, water, the city of Pikeville, there's residents, and we serve a lot of people outside the area, and we provide water to Mountain Water District for the county in a lot of areas. But we have 100% of the city residents watered. And I can't remember the percentage. I'm going to get it wrong if I sit here and say it, but it's in the high 90s from the standpoint of sewage. Excuse me. But what the Commission did with their plan a couple of years ago was they put a mapping up, and they said, well, where's areas that are in pockets? Well, when you go for funding, you have to show that there's a ratio of what money that the government gives to you versus how many people is sewer. In other words, hypothetically, if they give you $100,000 and you've got 100 people to sewer, then they break that down, 100,000 divided into 100, and that's what your saturation percentage or rate is.
Right.
So some of the areas that aren't sewered are going to be very difficult to sewer, and we're looking at these independent standalone systems. But the pockets of areas that needed sewer over the last couple of years, the city spent over $14 million in sewer projects. Foxcroft is another one that was lacked, and I think there's 10 or 12 homes there that we have a project finally that will start hopefully the pre-construction meeting is on November the 11th or 14th. I'm sorry, at 11 o'clock, and so the project itself should start shortly thereafter. So the project has been awarded to the bidder or to the contractor. The money's already there, waiting for the project to start. So it's just a matter of starting. And again, the same thing with the stormwater issue. Is one of the things that the commission has been tasked with is bringing the stormwater out. So that's what we're doing on the Peach Orchard project as well.
There's another update too. We've talked about Suddenlink before, the fiber downtown working and all that sort of thing. Update us quickly on Suddenlink.
Well, Suddenlink, we are working. I had a meeting with our attorneys, and as you know, they're getting ready. We talked about it last program. They're getting ready to sell their service out to a Canadian and British company, and they have to have the city of Pikeville's approval to do that, along with all their other service areas. So we've sat down and we're negotiating a few things. One of the things I thought was interesting on the negotiation is when we negotiated for the franchise agreement a couple of years ago. A lot of things that we asked for, they have done. One of the big things that we asked for was high definition. And I was looking at their pamphlet, and that was one of their arguments because we were wanting more channels. They sat across from the table and said, well, we just got you 48. So they just implemented 48 new high definition channels. We're working with them on bringing fiber to pockets of area downtown. So there's a lot of things, again, that the city will see improvements on under the franchise, under the cable provision moving forward. So we're excited to be working with them on that as well.
Okay.
On the slide, one of the events that we came through this past weekend was this was a lot of fun. It was a great way, you know, and I don't want to make light of it because there is a war against coal right now, and a lot of families are losing their jobs, and it's very sad. You know, this the commission, and not just the commission, but the whole region has really embraced the coal miners and is really pushing the coal industry as up to what these miners do for our community. And if you look around, coal severance tax is what has helped build our community up from the sweat and the hard work of these coal miners who put their lives at risk to go out and keep our energy costs low and to keep our region moving forward. But this past weekend, there was a lot of events going on this weekend. Just to name a few of them, we had the Alzheimer's Walk up at Bob Amos, Sesame Street Live, United for Coal, Muscle on Main, the Block Party, the Car Show, the Burnout, Main Street Live, Hatfield and McCoy Tours. So there was people everywhere all over town this weekend. And the icing on the cake, again, was this event. And as you know, Jill, the city co-sponsored this event.
Right.
There was a lot of hard work by a lot of people that put a lot of work into this. But we had at 2 o'clock on Saturday, everybody came out to support the miners and stood on 23 and held signs and got people honking. And as you can see, wore the yellow shirts. This was really great because as you see in the picture that's up there, it's the entire city commission, all 4 commissioners. I think one of them's hid behind my arm, Barry Cheney, but myself.
You did. You put your hand right up in his face.
Well, he laughed at me and said, I guess they got a good picture of your armpit.
Yeah, and he's a pretty tall guy, too.
But
it's a great picture.
And we had Lonnie Osborne and Judge Rutherford, and again, we had Leslie Combs and Ray Jones and W. Keith Hall, all there united supporting the coal miner and the industry. And this is a very important issue with the city, as you know. The City Commission filed suit against the EPA because of this travesty that's going on, this unfair regulations. And so there's been a lot of input with the commission in supporting the coal. And this was a great event this past weekend. It was a lot of fun to see how many people. I mean, everybody that went by was laying on their horns in support of the miner. Everybody knows what this means to the community, and we will continue pushing for the miner.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you live here, you can't not help but support your coal miners, because I don't care if you work in a coal mine or you work around a coal mine area. Regardless of what you do, you know someone who is affected.
Amen.
It could be your family, your brother, a lifelong friend, whomever. If you can't get behind this cause, I don't know what you can get behind. I will tell you something quickly. I saw a picture the other day. A friend of mine he doesn't live in Kentucky anymore, but he put a picture on his Facebook page of his new job site, and it was a wind farm. Have you ever seen those, where they put the wind turbines? And, you know, being from here, a lifelong resident of Eastern Kentucky, roots deep in heritage here, it kind of made me mad, to be honest. And I thought, you know, really, that's not what we want to do. There's something about going past a coal mine and seeing those big mounds of black, shiny coal that you just resonate with. Well,
it is. I mean, as Judge Rutherford has labeled us as the energy capital of the world, you understand what our industry is here. And it's not just about the industry and about the jobs, but it's also about America has been built on coal. I mean, the iron, building the steel years ago was driven by coal-fired factories.
Yeah,
and
steel's not going to be built with wind, I'll tell you that.
It's frustrating. I know it's aggravating, and there's been a lot on the presidential debates talking about the coal industry. And it gets you fired up, no pun intended, but really fired up to understand what's happening right now. And it's great at least to see the community come together to let the rest of the nation know what the coal industry and more specifically what the coal miner means to our region.
Amen.
And I'm proud to work for a city and a commission that has really supported the initiative, not only because the mayor is a coal miner, but because of, again, their steps in this class action suit against the EPA.
Yeah.
We recently announced that we're going to be sponsoring, hopefully co-sponsoring, I think I now have another co-sponsor that will sponsor with the city, the mine rescue event that is done each year. So we're going to be working with them on that as well.
We have a lot of upcoming events I want to mention quickly before we take a break and talk about a week-long event that you've just spent away from us. October 29th, 6 o'clock, Unite Policy Forum at Jenny Wiley Convention Center with the governor and congressman.
That's going to say a lot of great speakers that's going to be there. We've got a table. We're going to be there talking about the drug issues and how they impact the region as well.
That will include Governor Beshear, Congressman Rogers, Speaker Stumbo, Rocky Adkins, Senator Stivers, and Senator Jensen. So more information on that you can find out, local papers, websites, things of that nature. Trick-or-treat's coming up.
Yes, it is. Again, just a reminder, it's Halloween is on the 31st. We have trick-or-treat night on Tuesday the 30th, the city and the county, from 6 until 8. And as you know the reason, we wanted to make sure that when the kids show up and ring the doorbell, because of church night, we wanted to make sure people were home.
Right.
So we moved it to Tuesday instead of
on Wednesday night. But the event before that's so much fun.
I'm excited.
I can't wait. Nightmare on Main, October 23rd. That's next Tuesday night. Jesse Bowling and Miss Riddle from the YMCA were up talking the other day on our morning shows about all the fun things we're going to do on the 23rd. There's a session that morning for special needs children, which I think is a great, great opportunity for our teachers to bring their kids and let them have a great time. And then that evening, the Expo Center will be packed with vendors, with candy, with photo booths, all kinds of different opportunities. I had no idea there's going to be different kinds of booths, like a superhero booth, a Disney booth to take pictures, photo opportunities, and then the kids get to walk around, trick-or-treat from the tables. And then I know that Minta's working on something very exciting that Jesse wouldn't even tell me what that was.
Well,
so it's a fun night.
They wanted a couple of, again, reveals during the event to make it exciting. And I know we're doing a lot of different things this year. And I'll tell you, Jill, there's a lot of things that I get the privilege to do in this community. This is absolutely the best event.
This and Kids Day in the Park.
You're absolutely right. It's because you're dealing with our kids. And there's, in our second segment, I'm going to talk about our kids here a little bit later as well. But I was looking through some pictures when trying to find something that's getting ready to be put up and talk about the expo events. And I ran across my file on Halloween last year. My absolute favorite photo, and I wanted to bring it to put it up, but I was afraid, again, it has a child on it, not their parent. I didn't want to put it up because I didn't have their parents' permission, even though it was in a public place. But it's my most favorite picture of every picture that I've ever taken involved in the sea or whatever. But as you know, there is a special Batman that shows up, and there's a secret identity there that I won't reveal. But the gentleman that wears the Batman mask had a ball last year.
I heard.
And the most favorite, the absolute best picture was a 2-year-old Robin that came in that he's kneeling down with, and Robin is hugging Batman, and it is absolutely, like I said, it stays on my desktop, and I got a little special file that I have.
Well, it gives the adults the opportunity to be a child again, but to enjoy the kids so much. It's going to be a great, great night. We were talking about it, like I said, the other day, and it's just, I'm excited to see what we reveal this year. Big events coming to the Expo Center. You can see right behind us, Chris Young is going to be there on the November 17th. Then Daughtry and Three Doors Down, oh my goodness, just a week later or so. And you can get your tickets still there. Then you have the Kentucky Farm Bureau Classic coming in December. Lots of great events. And the great thing about the Expo Center, I love the basketball tournaments being there because it's a venue that's used for other things than just concerts.
Yes. Again, people don't realize how much the Expo Center is used. It's not just about the concert. It's about all the events that are going on. And Steve was on here not too long ago talking about that. And we also have, one's not up there, we have Fire on the Mountain. That comes November the 18th also.
Yeah.
So there's, again, multiple events. We had a great weekend. We got a lot of things coming up as well. So
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot just for a minute because I heard something yesterday. So you know how you hear things roundabout. I heard that there's a pretty popular country group that may be coming to the Expo Center in February. And I know you can't tell me yes or no, but I'm just saying there is a listing on a very popular country band's website that says they may be here in February. Any truth to Rascal Flatts, or can you just tell me that maybe I'm on the right path?
Well, As you know, Jill.
I like that.
It puts me on the spot time and time again. No, I joke.
It's out there, though. You know that.
Well, let me say this, is that, as I mentioned during our last show, there are several new concerts that Steve is working on that the commission has endorsed. And as you know, under a contract, they send them to the commission gives a thumb up. There's a couple of concerts that's not been released yet that they are very excited about. Let me say that. And I will say this, I guess, to answer your question, I cannot announce because we're under confidentiality agreements.
Okay.
But what I can say is if you'll go on to, I think it's rascalflats.com.
It is.
If you'll go there and you'll look at their schedule, it will probably speak for itself. Let me say it that way.
Tour dates, upcoming tour dates. Just click on it, you can find it.
If you
can find it. Plus, there are several other new announcements that are still being worked on. We will have those in the coming weeks, as we always do, letting people know here first what's going on, because it's an exciting time. Donovan, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk about the Kentucky League of Cities conference that you just attended. Well, we've got some great information we want to pass along, and we will do that in just a sec. Pikeville and Pike County Tourism invite you to scenic Pike County, where history lives. Enjoy a tour of the famous Hatfield and McCoy feud sites in downtown Pikeville. Treat yourself to an adventure on the Hatfield and McCoy River Trails, a Kentucky Blue Water Trail. Affordable rentals of kayaks, canoes, and tubes are available. Have your own kayak? We'll pick you up and drop you off for your trip down the river. Pikeville offers comfortable accommodations, exciting attractions, and great restaurants. Make Pikeville your home away from home. Visit and enjoy wonderful attractions like the Breaks Interstate Resort Park, Jenny Wiley State Park, the Hatfield-McCoy ATV trails, and so much more, all within 30 minutes of downtown Pikeville. So what are you waiting for? Visit our website today at www.visitpikeville.com or tourpikecounty.com. Discover Pike County. And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm your host one more time, Jill Fraley, along with City Manager Donovan Blackburn from the City of Pikeville. Our second segment today, Donovan, is going to let us talk about a trip or a conference that you recently attended at the Kentucky League of Cities. And interesting topic here, shift happens on our board. Let's talk about it.
Well, you know, Jill, as you know, I'm very involved with the Kentucky League of Cities, and we have our annual conference each year. Every time you go, the networking opportunities are great. Again, a lot of the ideals that I come back with are from various cities because of the networking and dealing with 380 other cities across the state that are members of the Kentucky League of Cities. This year we had a great attendance at the conference, and it was in Lexington, Kentucky, as I think I mentioned. But as I go through all these classes and seminars and work sessions, one really stuck with me, and I came back and showed this to a couple members of the commission, and they got really energized, not necessarily by just what you're getting ready to see, but also about what a little program we're going to do, which I'm really excited to get to. So with that, the whole audience was captivated by this presentation, and I thought I would have a little fun today, instead of just talking about things that are going on in the cities, but look at more from a worldwide perspective and more about the United States and what's actually going on regarding technology and how it's impacting us, and then what we need to do as civic leaders in the community to make sure that we are preparing ourselves for these trends that are happening. Mm-hmm. And again, when we get to the end, I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. But there was a program, there's a group out there called Shift Happens, and of course, shift being shifts on the keyboards, right. Regarding technology. And I'm going to go through this PowerPoint fairly quickly, but there's some fun facts on here that I think will really kind of, people stand back and say, really? So anyway, let's move forward.
Look forward to it.
Did you know, if you're 1 in a million in China, there are 1,300 people just like you. In India, there's 1,100 people just like you. The 25% of the population in China with the highest IQs. It is greater than the total population of all North America. In India, it's the top 28%. Translation, they have more honor kids than we have kids. Did you know? China will soon become the #1 English-speaking country in the world. If you took every single job in the U.S. today and shipped to China, China would still have a labor surplus. During this course of this presentation, 60 babies will be born in the U.S., 244 in China, 351 in India.
Wow.
The U.S. Department of Labor estimates that today's learner will have 10 to 14 jobs by the age of 38.
Mm-mm-mm.
1 out of 4 workers today is working for a company they have been employed for less than a year. More than 1 out of 2 are working for a company they have worked for less than 5 years. According to the former Secretary of Education, Richard Riley, that the top 10 in-demand jobs in 2010 did not exist in 2004. And again, talking about how technology has advanced.
Has advanced so much.
We're currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technology that has not yet been invented. In order to solve problems, we don't even know what the problems are yet. Pop quiz, name this country. Richest in the world, largest military, center of the world's business and finance, strongest education system, world center of innovation, and currently the world's standard of value, highest standard of living. It was England in 1900. So if you look again at the trend of where England is today compared to the 1900,
right.
because of technology, because of population, all the demands, you can see where they are today, I guess, in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know the U.S. ranked 20th in the world in broadband internet penetration? In 2002, Nintendo invested more than $140 million in research and development. Nintendo, again, invested $140 million in 2002. The U.S. federal government spent less than half as much for research and innovation. So again, one private company was investing from the private sector versus government. And again, when you look at government's role, a lot of people depend upon us for the infrastructure that's needed for us to be able to move and grow forward. I like this. 1 out of 8 couples married in the U.S. last year met online.
Really?
Yes.
That's
amazing
an interesting
statistics.
stat, isn't it?
There are over 106 million people registered on MySpace. That was, again, this presentation was I think put together in 2011, but some of the statistics they had was obviously earlier because of when they did the research. If MySpace were a country, it would be the 11th largest country in the world, between Japan and Mexico. The average MySpace page is visited 30 times per day. We're living in exponential times. There are over 2.7 billion searches performed on Google each month. To whom were these questions answered before Google?
You know what? I would like to sit and count how many times I go to Google's information bar every day. I bet you I do it probably 10 times every single morning between 6 and 9.
Well, and that's a real interesting point, as we were just discussing before we came back on air, about how, especially the younger generation, Generation Y, research is at the tip of their fingers.
It's so quick.
Everybody uses it, but our kids use it more. And one of the things that we have failure to do, which is what we're going to talk about towards the end of the program, is to really engage our up-and-coming leaders, because technology is changing so quickly we can't keep up with it.
Right.
But Generation Y is used to it, and they're going to be our future leaders.
They've never not known a world without the internet.
That's the whole point. And so when you're asking a question, and my son, that's what he does. He works for IT. He's in Generation Y. He works for the hospital as a manager over there for IT. I can't ask him a question to where we're sitting here pondering, and it's a great example to use. My father-in-law calls me the other day, and he's playing a game with his wife about a song that came out back in the 50s, and they were seeing if they could remember all the lyrics. They call my wife. Within my wife, we're standing in Walmart, and she says, "Oh, I know that song." He said, "Well, what's the next line?" Well, she's sitting there Googling it, and he said, "No, I don't want you using a computer. I want to know what the next line is." So she texts, because we were in Walmart, wasn't working, back home. Well, my son had not only had the line, but had pulled it up on YouTube and was sitting there listening to what the words were along with the text. So again, it goes from one generation to the next about how we're using these resources. And the one thing about Generation Y that's different is that they're multitaskers. They have learned over the years now, because, to your point, because they have internet, how to do their homework, listen to music, listen to iTunes, do research papers. They're doing all this stuff simultaneously now, which is different than Generation X, and it's different than the baby boomers, different than the traditionalists. So it's a real unique concept. So, and this again is why this information is important as we're building our community, because the communities that don't understand this are going to be the ones that are be left behind. Now, we've addressed it in some fashion, but there's some other things I think that we need to do. Right. I should say the commission that we're going to be working on. The number of text messages sent each and received each day exceeds the total number of population on the planet. There are about 540,000 words in the English language, which is 5 times as many as during Shakespeare's time. There are more than 3,000 new books published every day. It is estimated that a week's worth of New York Times contains more information than a person was likely to come across in his lifetime in the 18th century. It is estimated that 40 exabytes, thank you, of unique new information will be generated worldwide this year. This is more than in the previous 5,000 years total. The amount of new technology information is doubling every 2 years. For students starting a four-year technical or college degree, this means that half of what they will learn in their first year of study will be outdated by their third year of study. By 2010, it is predicted that it will double every 72 hours. Third-generation fiber optics have recently been separately tested by NEC and Alcatel. Now, my son, of course, is IT. He was where I let him go through this presentation the other day because he has an interest. He said, "Dad," he said, "this is dated." He said, "It's already moving." He said, "It's amazing. It's in Japan." He said, "This little fiber that they've got," he said, "it's amazing what data that it's sending and going back and forth." That will carry 10 trillion bits per second down a single strand of fiber, which is already happening again in Japan. That's equivalent to 1,900 CDs or 150 million phone calls every second is what that's equivalent to. It is currently tripling every 6 months and is expected to do so for the next 20 years. E-paper will eventually be cheaper than real paper. 47 million laptops were shipped worldwide last year. The $100 laptop projected is expected to be shipped between 50 and 100 million laptops a year to children in underdeveloped countries. Predictions that by 2013 a supercomputer will be built that exceeds the calculation capacity of the human brain. And while technician predicts further than about 15 years are hard to do. Predictions are that by 2049, a $1,000 computer will exceed the copulation capacities of the entire human species. Think about that, Jill.
Talk about trying to get your mind around something.
So what does that mean? Again, shift happens. It was a presentation. Some of the talking points is that what's unique, Jill, and some of the things that I've attended several classes on IT here lately, because one of the things that we're talking about is what does the city need to do in order to make sure that we're not left behind. A lot of the communities that are growing downtown are really investing in fiber and working with companies. Currently, I've been speaking to, look, fourth column down, for broadband service downtown and creating a fiber ring in the downtown area with Lightyear, Eastern Telephone, AT&T, Appalachian Wireless, and Suddenlink. Recently, I just spoke to Suddenlink, and part of this agreement that we're trying to negotiate for the sale, one of the conditions that I'm asking them is to consider putting the fiber because they own the conduit downtown. And again, those communities that businesses are attracted to are the ones that have this high-speed broadband, high-speed internet capability. But again, if you go back and say, well, what does that mean in sense from building? Technology is changing. You know, just again in 2004 when I came on board, when we talk about transparency and how government communicates to its population, it's totally different than what it is today. You know, if you go on our website, which is how most people now do their searches, they don't call. When I first came on board, the city clerk sat there and answered the phone all day answering questions. Now all that information is at a fingertip. You can pay your bills online. You can look at what the commission done the week before by all the minutes being published online. You can look at ordinances by doing searches online. But you got to be able to do it quick. You got to be able to do it fast because people are now impatient. Again, I go back 15 years ago or more when we had our first home computer. I was living in Winchester, working for Lowe's. You sat there and you downloaded a picture, and you had to hope that you didn't fall off the dial-up.
Right.
If you got knocked off the dial-up, you're really upset. But it would literally take 15 minutes to download a picture. Now we get impatient if we don't have 3G and it's not there immediately, or 4G. So I mean, technology is advancing and moving forward. What's really unique is that this is the first time in history that you have 4 generations working at the same time. You've got the traditionalists, the baby boomers, Generation X and Generation Y, all working under in the same business.
Right.
Now, and the reason that has happened is that traditionally, because of the tough economic times, you had people that retired at 65. Well, those people don't retire now because they need medical. They need benefits because, again, their 401k was diminished because of the recession. So those folks who used to be in leadership that may have went into retirement, they decided to go, instead of being in leadership, they ended up taking secondary jobs, again, just specifically for their insurance. So they're in the workplace. And then again, your leadership positions are your baby boomers and your Generation Y people. I want to get there backward, Generation X, I'm sorry. So because those are your people again, that are in the age group that came into the labor force, was educated, but they've grown up the ladder, that are traditionally the ones, again, that's in supervisory positions. Your Generation Y people are, your kids that are just coming out of college that know all this technology. And if you look at the composite of the commission, for example, we've got generation the traditionalists on the commission, which have a lot of great experience. You've got Gene Davis, for example, that's been on the commission for 28 years, going 28 years, that understands the history of everything that's happened through the city commission. So when I have a problem and say, well, I wonder what happened 10 years ago or 15 years ago, Gene has that knowledge. You've got, same thing with Dallas. Under the baby boomer era, again, you've got Frankie and the mayor, of course, and Gene. I'm sorry, and Jimmy and Barry. And then under the Generation X factor, you've got myself. And so the one generation gap that we don't have yet is the Generation Y. Now, we're going to do something a little bit about that I'll talk about here as we go down. But if you look at how government communicates compared to 10 years ago, as we mentioned, you talk about the technology that's coming in, you see all the worldwide changes, and if we want to keep up to create the new jobs, to have the advancement and the quality of life that people expect, these are some of the things that we have to look at. Part of the problem is that we don't understand it. Is because, again, it wasn't part of our era, as you mentioned earlier. These students coming out of college, and not for that matter. You know, one of the statistics that wasn't up there is the largest group that is now using the internet age group is those between the 3 and 5 age group. So again, younger and younger.
It's true.
It's amazing to watch a child, and I've got it in my pocket right here, pick up the iPhone and sit there, and they go through it faster than what I can.
I know. And an iPad, they can sit, and I notice sometimes in church, you know, kids bring their electronics. I'm talking about, you know, you said 3-year-old kids sitting there with their iPad playing games, and it's great for them because it gauges their learning abilities. But for me, you know, I was sitting there with a coloring book and crayons, and they're sitting there with a $700 device on their lap, and they're doing the same things, and they get it and probably can work it better than I can.
Right. Well, it's exactly right. And with that knowledge and understanding where we're heading, if we want to compete against China, if we want to compete against India, some of the things that's in the presidential debates going on right now, then we have to stand back and look at, not just depend upon our national leaders, but we have to look on a state level and locally at what we can do to improve our capabilities for having, whether it's internet or broadband, or not just that, but creating services that people will expect in the next 5 or 10 years. And again, if you go back and you look at Generation Y, what we're going to do, the commission is really excited about this, and I'm announcing today. It'll be discussed during the city commission meeting this coming Monday night, is engaging that Generation Y. Because again, that's our future. We've got, I just mentioned, we've got a lot of our past people represented, we've got a lot of our leadership in the present, but we need to look into our future, and we need to give those folks a voice also. And if you look at it, for example, the city's comprehensive plan. The city did a comprehensive plan in 2005. It started in 2004 and 2005. And again, it was our roadmap as of all these changes that you've seen in the city over the last couple of years. A lot of things have changed over the last 10 years, Jill. The downtown landscape isn't the same. We've got more things going on, from arts to entertainment, all the things that we just discussed here today. But the one factor that is left out in most communities across the nation is when commission members are engaged, or they're sitting down looking at the comprehensive plan, and we're as guilty as well. And I guarantee across the state of Kentucky, if you can find one community that hasn't done what I'm getting ready to talk about, I'll be very, very surprised. But what happens traditionally is you start a comprehensive plan. You know, I was involved with the county, a partnership with the county when the county did theirs. The city, we did ours before. And what we do is you go out and you hire a group, they come in, and then they look at the statistics, they look at the facts, and they start interviewing different pockets of people. And we sit there and usually give them a list of all the different sectors, and they want to know, who's a good realtor to talk to, who's in the medical field, who's in this. And you look at all of those people, and again, the people that ends up on the list are the baby boomers and Generation X group.
Right.
Okay? So when the comprehensive plan comes out, we are then making decisions on what we feel like are in the best interest, or what the likes of what our future is. And so we've decided to change it a little bit and do something a little unique. I spoke to Jerry Green yesterday, Mr. Green, the superintendent of the independent school system. And this was an idea, again, that came from a discussion with a couple of the commissioners. And what we're going to do is we're going to involve the high school and the university in our comprehensive plan. I just spoke to Mr. Green, and what I've asked him to do is, and he was really excited about it. Mr. Green's great. I mean, the school system
He
is
would be
phenomenal.
very. I mean, I can see him just jumping all over this, really being on board.
He really was. I mean, he really was really excited, and I was excited, and the commission was excited. But we're going to do two different things. When I say the school system, we'll talk about the university on a different show, but let's talk about the independent school systems. The first program is taking the fifth graders and sixth graders is what the intent is. And what the intent is to select 10 out of each group, 10 fifth graders, 10 sixth graders. The city will buy them disposable cameras with 24 exposure pictures on them. And the students will be selected by the faculty. And what we're going to ask them is to go out into the community, because they, again, at that age, they're more visual than they are for being able to communicate, and to take pictures of 12 things that they like about the community and 12 things they don't like about the community. Take those pictures. Bring those pictures together into a classroom setting, and then those 20 kids get together and then choose the top 24 or 12 likes and 12 dislikes over everything that they've taken. Now, we're going to ask for the copies of the pictures because I want to see, and the commission wants to see other things, but we want them to put a presentation on as of the 12 things they like, 12 things that they dislike. And that will give the commission an ideal of what this age group is really looking for in their community. So that's the first phase of that. And then they're going to bring those kids in and set them down with the city commission and let them have a presentation before their government.
And what you will get is brutal honesty. You realize that. And that's the best thing about it.
Pure, brutal honesty, because the kid doesn't, they're not gauged like we are.
No.
They're going to tell you what they like, and they're going to tell you what they don't like.
And they're going to tell you why.
Absolutely. So we're really excited about that.
Oh,
and then
wonderful.
The second phase of this is, and this I hope will be an ongoing project. And then the second phase of this is again to get with the juniors and the seniors into basically the same thing. Instead of 20, there'll be 6 and 6. And what we're going to do with those seniors and juniors is to allow them to be part of the city's comprehensive plan. I'm going to sit down with them an after-school program, and these are going to be your leaders, the people that are the class president, the leadership in school, to come in and sit there and explain to them a little bit about how our budget process works. That because anybody can come in and say, well, I want you to build an arcade, and I know that's back in my day, but an internet cafe or something like this, and we don't have the dollars to do that. You have to understand that. So it's kind of educating them to what the process is. But more important, what we want to do is once we've educated them to the process, then they will have their meetings on their own. And then they will come back to the commission and tell the commission, based on the format of the comprehensive plan, of what they deem as important for their age group and what they want to see happen so that it can be included as part of the comprehensive plan. Because again, I go back to what we tend to do as depending upon if you're a traditionalist, baby boomer, or Generation X, is we're making those decisions on their behalf. Now, we have the intellectual ability that once they present their ideals to us to sit there and look at, well, what was number one, what was number two, what can we do, what can't we do, and explain to why. But the intent is to engage that generation, to give the young, again, the 5th and 6th graders the opportunity to have a voice in our community, and to give our seniors and juniors the opportunity to represent their peers by having them a voice and having them participate as part of the city's comprehensive plan. So understanding the next 10 years worth of growth, when you look at all those components of internet and technology and jobs and all those things, we need to hear from the people that this is going to impact.
Yeah.
Now, what there has been a study, and where this ideal came from wasn't in this fashion. There was different things that was presented at the conference and some other conference that I attended. And what had happened, and where this ideal came from, is what had happened in one town out west, and I think it was in Utah, but they were having the same kind of problem that City of Pikeville was having. Our kids, we have brain drain. We are best and brightest when they graduate from high school. And if you look at the Pikeville Independent School System and how they rank statewide, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's one of our proudest jewels in our crown. And when you look at the independent school system, and that board has done a wonderful job, and with the leadership of the principals and Mr. Green, but what we need, what the same problem that we have is that when those kids go to college, then a lot of them don't return. And we lose a big part of not only our base of people, but we also lose our best and our brightest, our young entrepreneurs, the people that are going to make a difference in our community, that are going to be sitting in this chair in 20 years from now.
Right.
And those are the ones that we need to stake. But what they had done, there was a community out west, had during and it was a population about 8,000, close to Pikeville. They had went to their students in school, and the commission bought them each a mailbox and had the mailbox painted white and put every one of the students' name on it. And inside the mailbox was a letter from their mayor. And it said that we congratulate you on your graduation. You're getting ready to undertake life, and you're going to have a lot of experiences. You're going to go to your university, and you're going to become you're going to get this wonderful education. It's going to position yourself for the future. But don't forget where you come from, and don't forget that we would like to see you back. And what they found is by doing that, by engaging those kids, that they had a higher percentage of those kids returning than they ever had in years past. So just again, those are in positions, giving them a voice to understand this is our needs. I mean, it may be as simple as a child saying, well, there's no shopping. Well, we've been able to address some of that, or there's no places to eat, and I want to be able to have the quality of life. But not forgetting where you come from. So the intent is double folded here. One is to help us with a comprehensive plan, understand those components. But two is also to give these kids a voice in our community in hopes that they'll take ownership in their community and want to be part of it and want to come back. So I mean, I'm really excited. I appreciate the Commission's ideal on this. I'm really excited. I greatly appreciate Mr. Green and the principals at the Bolles School System for engaging the city in this. And I'm looking forward to what this is going to bring.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful opportunity, a great idea, because like I said, you know, you're going to get very honest answers, but that's what you want. Brutal honesty is the best form of the way that we can make ourselves better, and a kid or a student is the best way to do that. And I think that you're really going to see that once the program starts, the information that you get and gain is going to be completely invaluable.
Well, and I know it will be. I think that you know, I won't say think. I know that some of, not necessarily the best ideas, but some of the best comments, again, come from our youth because they're living it, they're experiencing it, they're feeling it, they're touching it, and they need a voice as well. Yeah. And, you know, Jill, as I say, I sit back and I'm in awe. You know, I've got two great kids. I mean, my boys are hardworking. They went through school. They were good students. They've gotten good jobs because of their education. And but the technology and how they communicate is different than us now because you know, they sit there and they're talking to me and they're sending texts in one hand without looking at me, and you know, my son lives right next door to me. Actually, one lives next door and the other one lives 2 houses over, and you know, they come over when they want something to eat, and I say that in jest. But there's not a day that go by they don't talk to their mom, but usually it's on the iPhone.
Right.
Or it's
by text or verbally. Normally by text.
That's how it's usually either text, FaceTime. You know, we were in Lexington, driving to Lexington, and on the Parkway, you know, 3G is now available, and my son was Facebooking my wife. So the way, and candidly, we've never used Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, but FaceTime. We don't use it unless my son does it, but he does it all the time. So I mean, it is a different way of life, and you know, we need to include that population. It's important. I mean, we've got, as we've discussed, we've got so much going on in this community. It's unreal. We are being talked about again at the conference. I was in 3 different sessions to where Pikeville was used as an example. So, and that's great. I mean, that's a great sense of pride. It thrills me to be able to have those accolades and those.
It is a great sense of pride, but it's also, I think, very humbling too, because you see where, you know, where we were 10 years ago or 8 years ago, and then you see where it is now, and I can't imagine what it's going to be 10 years from now, with all of the developments that we're talking about, with all of these topics that we have discussed, the upgrades that are going on now. I mean, it's just 5 years from now, it's going to be totally different. Well,
you know, we've talked about this in the past. When I came on board in 2004, you know, we had no employees had email. We had one dial-in with one T at one line. That's, I mean, just the change in the last 9 years, Jill, is just unbelievable. I mean, with the websites and the emails and how we communicate. With Facebook is real time. We're able to put events out there. We're able to attract more people with the events. Right at your fingertips all the time. I mean, it is, and it's a great era. But we also have to embrace it as leaders, and we have to make sure that we're making our investment. And there's no other way to better invest than in our youth's education and quality of life. Well, you and our commission are doing a fantastic job. So as a citizen, thank you. Well, do want to mention quickly before we finish, don't forget Nightmare on Main, October 23rd. Yes. That will be 6 o'clock that evening until about 8:30. And then Trick or Treat, the night is October 30th. That's on Tuesday from 6 to 8 in the city. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Anything else we've left out? Well, I think there's a lot going on. Pay attention to our Facebook page and go to tourpikeville.com or cityofpikeville.com and you can see. All the information's right there. Amen. Donovan, thanks so much. Until next time. Wonderful. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.